Hi and welcome to this quick demo of Muse, my game prototype. I'm going to do a little playthrough of the game to show off what I've been working on for the past 4 or so months, so let's have a look. So this project represents my first steps in my journey to developing a nice and robust third-person character controller. The point of this project was not so much to make a game, but rather to lay a solid foundation on which I can build upon in the future. I took some inspiration from games like Elden Ring, Splatoon, Mega Man Legends, and Metroid Prime especially, and tried to create my own take on how a third-person shooter should work. The idea is that in the future, this character is going to be exploring a sort of 3D Metroidvania-style world. I think there's room for more games like that in today's market, and so that's the kind of game I want to make. So the key thing that I want players to do is find a balance between shooting and moving. I'm not a big fan of the over-the-shoulder style of TPS like Fortnite or Uncharted, for example, because I sort of feel like it separates moving and shooting to two different gameplay states. I think there's some thrill in trying to avoid enemy fire from multiple sources and dealing with other environmental hazards at the same time. So this was really the foundation for my decision-making and how I approached the game. That's why I've chosen to implement things like having a dodge roll and this type of strafing movement that keeps the camera pulled back to let the player take in the environment as they engage in combat. As you can probably tell, I grew up in the N64 and GameCube eras of gaming, and so that had a lot of influence on me. In terms of the aesthetic, for sure, as I went for a low-poly, retro-inspired look, which turned out to be a lot of fun to work on, and I'm really looking forward to creating more environment art like this in the future. But also just the way the character moves is very inspired by the N64 Zelda titles. And before I go, I do need to give a huge shout out to youtube.com/@pointdown for providing some truly amazing tutorials and other resources that turned out to be invaluable for getting this project off the ground. So that's all for today. Stay tuned for more updates on this project in the future, and thanks so much for watching.